MDMA, our experiences with MDMA, or as some people call it, heart opening.
We call it that.
Oh yeah, we call it that.
Yeah, we call
because
it
it tends to open your heart. It seems to make things easier to say. It seems to make things easier to accept.
It helps dissolve the ego very quickly.
Okay, great.
And get to the heart of what you're feeling and what you want to express with people, and removes any sense of blockage that you may have, or detrimental self-awareness, embarrassment, shame. It takes all those things out.
Can you share a story with us about an
experience? I have several. I didn't get to really prepare, but
I should have warned you.
No, let's just this podcast reflects life. It just happens. So I will say in general, I've had multiple instances with heart opening where I've used it to really bond with friends, specifically my girlfriends. And even though we are really good at just expressing ourselves, I think it takes it to a deeper level. And really, sometimes it's, even if you know those people will love you unconditionally, there's still a part of you that whispers these things in your ear like, oh, what if they know this about me? Mm-hmm. But it takes away those irrational fears and just lets you just bond and just be honest and just say what's on your mind. And for the other person who's listening, it allows them to hear you without judgment and just, again, with an open heart, just welcome you with whatever you have to say. So I've had beautiful sessions with heart opening where, you talk about oneness. I really feel like you can really feel energy coming from another person. You can really feel love coming from yourself. I think it's really important, the intention you go into with using heart opening, as well as the people that you're with. Because oftentimes when it's abused, in party settings or club settings, people like pop it in their mouths and they'll just kind of, and they're essentially trying to numb things again. They're trying to just forget about what things bother them, as opposed to use it in a very intentional manner. So I use it with the intention of really just letting people know where my heart is and letting them feel the love that I have for them. It's one thing to say it, a whole other ballgame to actually be able to feel and experience it with that person. Mm-hmm. It takes your belief to a whole different level.
Yeah, it seems to make confrontations smoother. Mm-hmm.
It's not even confrontation, it just makes it a conversation, a heartfelt dialogue. As like people get afraid of like confronting people or having an intervention or whatever, but this doesn't have any of those connotations. Like none of those shadows are lurking when you take heart opening. It takes that away, because the mind has a really funny way of injecting doubt and shame and fear into your brain.
So is this a pill that removes doubt and shame and fear?
In my experience, I cannot speak for everybody, but I think it definitely is affected by how I'm approaching it.
When I first did it in my youth, like you said, it wasn't intentional. Sure. And more recently, when we did it and we call it heart opening, I was actually quite intimidated by it. I felt I was going to be.
¿Por qué?
I felt I was going to be like seen for a fraud or something. Oh, I'm going to be exposed. They're going to see my heart.
Yeah, but I will accept you for the fraud that you are.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I was like, if that's the case, that's why I went.
Regardless.
That's why I moved forward with it. I was like, well, if it comes out that I'm a fraud, I will face it.
This is a safe space.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the place to expose yourself and be like, all right, cool, I get it. I've been there, done that, did it better, did it worse.
Yeah.
Connection.
But instead, it did the opposite. It showed me how much my heart was open already, and how much it had been opening throughout.
Yours is pretty open to begin with, so it just like kicks it open.
Kicks it right.
Yeah, it just blows the walls off of the bar.
It does feel that way.
Yeah.
It does feel that way. Which brings me to, what's the word that I was thinking about?
Narcissism.
Which brings me to my narcissistic point of view.
Bring me there, Dan Brown.
Yeah.
We're going with this.
This is a practice for me.
Okay.
A practice of narcissism. And narcissism is...
Do tell, explain.
Let me tell you why I'm so great, Angela.
I'm all ears.
All right. It's no secret. I'm great. Would you agree that I'm great?
I don't only agree, I will fight to the death with anyone who opposes that idea.
Okay.
That's how much I believe in your greatness.
So I believe in my greatness because you believe in my greatness. And I'm surrounded by people who believe in my greatness. I'm surrounded by great people who believe in my greatness.
I am pretty great.
I'm so great that I gravitate great people to me just so that they can tell me how great I am.
Yeah. In this great universe of yours, you are the sun of greatness, and all of us are just orbiting your star of awesomeness. That's what we're doing. So we're just attracted by universal forces.
And it mends with MDMA because
Take me there. Come on.
it shows that medicine shows you. It shows you what your heart is when you're not blocked.
I see.
But there's a practice to get here when you're not on MDMA. You don't have to just take it to have your heart opening.
No, it's just to show you that it's possible.
Right.
Right. But it's not meant to be like you need this in order to feel great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the reasons why I'm great is because I do things I don't want to do, and I say things I don't want to say to the people that it needs to be said to, and I do it on a consistent basis. And I've done this for such a long period of time now.
That sounds like it could be amazing, or that sounds like it could be a ticking time bomb.
Well, you see, I go in it with my heart open,
Yeah.
which means that I'm prepared to suffer the consequences to my actions. We'll see where it goes. The idea is that, oftentimes when we're kids and something happens in front of us, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to react. We don't know what to say. Like if somebody gets hurt in front of us, we usually laugh, or we usually, I don't know how to ask. I don't know how to ask, like, hey man, are you okay? I don't know how to let someone know that I'm there for them without seeming like condescending or something strange. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up seeing that. You see it all the time. You see groups of people not knowing how to react to one thing happening.
Sure, yeah.
And so this is the program that I grew up with. And so to break that program, I had to first become conscious of it, that I do freeze, that I want to say something and I don't say it. And so the practice is saying it. I'm saying it right now. This is something, I don't necessarily want to say it. I don't necessarily want to do this.
Oh, so the podcast is an example of this.
It is an example. It's an example of me putting
yourself out there.
Putting myself out in a position where I'm practicing saying the things that are from my heart. These are the things that are on my mind. I say them often as I can. There are things that I want to say a lot. The idea of reprogramming our bodies and minds to function in accordance with our new beliefs is something that I really want to dissect, because I'm a big believer in it. I believe that we have been programmed and we have built a karmic momentum going into darkness. And now we have woken up to our light, to our heart opening, to our consciousness, and it gives us the ability to reprogram ourselves and point that karmic focus toward the life of our dreams. I really believe this is a dream that's our best interest.
I feel like you're building up to telling me something that you're afraid will offend me.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not.
No, but I'm actually hoping. I think that would make,
I was like, oh, is that where this is going? You see, that's why I need to practice, because
I think that would make great podcasting viewing. Come on.
There's something that I have to tell you.
Is there something that you have to tell me?
There's something
that you just afraid you can't take back, but at the same time have to be said?
No, but what I am saying, that when I do say those things, when I am confronted with these moments of saying it or not saying it, and I do say it, what happens is that it unblocks me. And then when in a way
Even if
where
it's hard.
Yeah, especially when it's hard, because here's
actually if it's hard, that's usually a sign that you should be saying it.
Yeah, and if you don't say it, it's going to create a stagnation within me, a stagnation that will grow in time the longer I go without saying it, and so much it can grow so large, so much so that you don't even realize.
It becomes oppressive.
You don't even realize what it was anymore. You forgot about what's blocked. So you can have several blocks and you don't even know where they stemmed from because you never addressed them. So depending on where I am in my life at any given time, there could be a certain block. And if I want to avoid having future blocks, I will address it in the moment. So that when I sit down and try to be creative or try to do something greater, this is the greatness part of it, then I can flow, then I can create, then I can make things into reality, bring the things from my dream world into this third dimensional world, which I wouldn't be able to do if I was clogged, blocked, stagnant.
Is there any situation where you wouldn't recommend anyone using heart opening?
I'm sure there is. Maybe, I'm not a doctor, like high blood pressure maybe.
Oh, aside from the health reasons.
Oh, like...
Or do you think, or is there anything that you think is specifically very good for?
I really like it for bonding, for team building.
I think it's really good for couples, actually.
I believe, I've seen it, yeah.
I've seen it in my experience when we've dealt with people during sessions. Amazing work done with especially couples, married couples, husbands and wives, that are having issues with communication. And oftentimes arguments, anger is really just when two people are misunderstanding each other. One person's feeling like, I don't think you're hearing me. The other person's thinking, you just don't, or I don't get you. What are you trying to say? And it really clears up all those negative impulses we have to just prove someone wrong. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes people be like, why did you say that? More with the meaning of, why would you say something to hurt me, as opposed to trying to understand, like, truly, what are you trying to say to me? What am I not getting here? A lot of times in arguments, people just feel like the victim, or feel like they're just angry and they can't get past the anger. But really, the way to navigate those waters is to just really hear each other out and really endeavor to understand each other. And I think heart opening is very good at making that path much smoother. Just getting rid of those impulses to just jump down someone's throat.
Absolutely. Would you recommend heart opening? Who would you recommend it to? Who needs
You want me to call people out?
Yeah. Call people out.
I'll put it in the comment section. Yes, my friend over here could definitely need some. It's just people who are having trouble, who have good intentions, but for whatever reason are having a hard time expressing themselves, or are afraid that the other person won't hear them. But obviously you need both people to be willing, because just like any situation involving any kind of medicine, people have free will. So if you're going into it without that intention to want to bridge a gap, it could go badly too. It could just, you could get someone who's just, I've seen people just get very shaky, or like just kind of get very nervous or jittery when they're really fighting themselves on this particular type of medicine.
I've seen it work really well under the guidance of someone who knows what they're doing.
I definitely think a mediator is good. It's not necessary, but if you're not as well versed in using these types of things, definitely have a mediator who has both parties' interests in mind and who's fairly objective about just letting people have their say. So yeah.
Absolutely. So, MDMA, thumbs up. Do it. Heart opening.
Do we have a rating system for
Get
this?
your heart opened.
I give it 4 out of 5 shamans. 4 out of 5 shamans agree that
4 out of 5
you should
shamans
take
agree.
this on a daily basis. No.
No, don't take it on a daily basis.
No, absolutely not. Just like anything. If you could space it out, please
Yeah.
do.
Just try it once. Try it once.
Also, small amounts at a time. Like, especially if you're sensitive. I've become very sensitive over time. Like, usually a quarter dose is enough for me. But some people need like half a dose or whatever. So it depends.
Some people don't need any. Some people, their heart is already too open.
Ultimately the goal is to not have to rely on any kind of medicines. Just like, you know,
Especially to
mainstream,
say
widely
the things you
accepted
want to
medicines.
say. You shouldn't have to rely on anything
No,
to
it's
say
just
what you have to say.
it is like anything, a crutch. And the idea is if you're perfectly healthy, why would you take any cough medicine, right? But you only take that when you have a kind of blockage going on. The same thing as with plant medicine. You shouldn't have to rely upon it, but if it's helpful, if there's like you're just having a major blockage, that will help you. But the idea is to show you that it is possible. You can do this. And that person will listen if you come at it with the right heart. It just helps to facilitate that. The goal is to ultimately be able to do that on your own. You have it within you to do so. It's just a reminder.
Just a reminder. Do MDMA.
Very well. That's all you wanted to talk about today.
Do you have something else you'd like to talk about?
Me?
I blew my load already. I got nothing.
All over.
It's all over the internet.
Just people are wiping their faces right now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just some tissues. Just throw it in the washer. It's fine. It's an enzyme. It's an enzyme. It breaks down the dead skin cells, the pore cloggage.
My thought is lost in euphemism. I don't know where it goes now.
No. By losing ourselves in the euphemism, we are found. That is the paradox.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. What does happiness mean to you?
What does happiness mean to me? That's a good one. That's hard to define. I know what it feels like.
Tell me.
It feels like...
And just be prepared, I'm also going to ask you about joy. So I would like for you to think about that.
Oh, happiness is just this lighthearted feeling, a feeling of ease, a feeling of things clicking and flowing at the same time, and just anything that makes you smile or makes your brain smile.
What makes you happy?
Gives you pleasure. Huh?
What makes you feel the most happy? Is there a thought that makes you feel the most happy?
Yeah. When everyone around me and myself, we're all just healthy and well and enjoying the moment. When we're very much present in the moment and nothing feels wasted.
Is joy different?
I believe so. When I use the word joy, it tends to be on a much deeper, almost kind of divine level. Joy to me tends to be more purpose-driven. Happiness I can find in little things as well. I think it's a more general term. Joy is when you're truly aligned with yourself, with the universe around you. When I think certain energies that you've invested in something comes to fruition, I feel like that's more of an expression of joy. Everyday happiness can be spontaneous. I think joy is much more intentional. Why? Do you have a different definition for it?
I don't. I'm curious.
Just curious?
Yeah. That word that came up to me this morning, and I've been thinking about it.
And I think that's why when the word joy tends to pop up in more religious texts, because I think it's definitely more of an elevated feeling.
I like it.
Yeah.
Great.
Any other semantical questions that you may have?
No, that was it.
I think about it a lot though, because I'm very specific when I use words.
Oh yeah.
We're having audience suggestions.
He wants to talk about responsibility. Because
I'm assuming he's talked to you about
so
this.
the other day, no, I brought it up to him actually. These words are coming up to him, and I run them by him because I really like the way
How
he
are they
breaks
coming
down.
up to you?
He breaks down
Our
words
friend Casey
really well.
is hanging out on the sidelines and whispering to her. Would you like to come on?
Responsibility.
So one of my thoughts on that I have a lot is it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. And I said that out loud today, and I asked Casey, what is fault? What does that mean? And he said it's like a fault line, like
I was just thinking a
cracks.
fault line.
Like cracks, something's off, something's broken.
Something's off, something's broken.
And then I asked, what's responsibility? And he was like, you really don't know? He was really excited to share this one, which is your ability to respond.
Listen, your ability to respond.
Your ability to respond. Responsibility. Your ability to respond to the moment, to take action. And which is an empowering word. And I like the empowering word. So I don't like the fault word. I like the responsibility word.
Do you think there's a difference between responsibility and duty then?
Duty.
Do you believe there's a difference? I think there is. But I'd like to hear yours.
Yeah, duty is an obligation. Duty is an obligation. Responsibility is based on your awareness.
I like that. So Casey's saying duty is an obligation.
Right.
Whereas responsibility is, you said?
Based upon your level of awareness.
Based upon your level of awareness.
So that's why people can get away with saying, I was just following orders.
It's my duty. It's an obligation, which can has the connotation that it may not be necessarily what you want to do, or you may be compelled to do so by an authority or force greater than you, or that has some leverage over you. Whereas responsibility is something I think that comes from within, that you own this,
Yeah.
that you are willing to be the person to be called upon or explain why this happened or did not happen.
So what determines one's level of responsibility?
One determines it.
Your ability to be aware of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So the more awareness that you have, the more ability you have to respond to the world around you. And therefore you have more responsibility automatically by having more awareness.
Are you telling me that people who lack awareness are often
irresponsible.
remiss in their responsibility, are irresponsible? They are disregarding their ability to respond to things.
They simply don't have it. Through blockages, toxicity, whatever.
I like this. I like words and wordsmithing and the parsing of words, which is funny because I believe that some people can take this the totally wrong way, but when it's done correctly or when I feel like there's a lot of sense in it, it's beautiful. Just being able to define that for yourself and to define it well, it's like poetry to me. I really enjoy that.
I do too.
What's another word that I think people throw around but isn't well defined? Love is another one.
Yeah. That one's thrown around.
That one's thrown around a lot. Do it because I love you. And I think people have an abstract understanding of love. Like I do this because I care about you. Is really what they're saying. But love, like I think a lot of people will mistake fear for love. And you see it manifested in many different ways. Like people who are in a relationship I love this person, but really you can tell that they're in it because they're afraid of being alone, or afraid of losing that person, afraid of just other things. They're not being in that relationship because they really care about it, or because they want to see this person live their best expression of themselves. A lot of times I'll see people who will hold each other back and think that's love. Being overly possessive and think that's love. That's actually insecurity. So there's a lot of things. I think there's a lot of words out there that are misunderstood.
Which brings us to our next episode, One Big Misunderstanding, where we will break down the world's misunderstandings in 10 minutes.
What?
Just kidding.
Are we gonna solve all the world's problems in 10 minutes? I want to be there for that episode because I think I'll learn something.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be there too. We'll be there.
We should actually. If anyone in the comments would like a word to be broken down based on our understanding about it.
Please recommend your favorite words. We will break them down
I
with
think
our
this is good.
wordsmith, Casey Fuentes.
I look forward to it.